So one question I have is, if you watch television, you get the sense that we're living in exceptionally chaotic times, unusually chaotic times. The climate is going to hell, politics is going to hell, we're going to be eaten by bird flu, and all the rest. So the question is it an illusion based on the way that media reports things? Is it based on historical short-sightedness, and that we're in fact always living in incredibly chaotic times? Or do you think that there really is something unusual that's happening now? And you could both answer the question.
No. I've written a paper called the Dischaotic Personality. So the implication of the word disorder is that order is good. So if you don't have enough order, then you're ill, and the illness is called disorder. So since the advent of chaos theory, the clever graduate students went around taking stock, numerical measure of all the data that they could find, old magnetic tapes in the closets in the basement of the science building and stuff, paleoclimatic records, magnetism, all these things, and most especially human data. That means from the EEG, from the EKG, measures of human physiology recorded as a time series and observed, measured for certain simple measure of chaos. For example, the fractal dimension is a number like ordinary dimension that indicates complexity or chaos. So EEG of a healthy person was found to have fractal dimension about 6. What this fractal dimension of 6 means is that the ordinary brain wave is as if there were 6 different individuals who were each kind of orderly in their own way, but didn't cooperate much. And their squabble made your EEG. See, that's what the 6 meant. So people who were really, really ill with epilepsy, their fractal dimension was lower, like 5 or 4. With fractal dimension of 3, you die. So you have to have a certain amount of chaos is healthy. Too much is an illness, and too little is an illness. So on one side you have disorder, and on the other side you have dischaos. So what we see in the news, of course, is I think we truly live in exceptional times, and the exception is amplified by bias of the media. It doesn't matter if it's the ordinary media or the alternative media, you will see the amplification in the sense that all these hurricanes, for example, are about the same number as happened a century ago. So I think that if we could apply a measure like fractal dimension to the news in the newspaper, for example, by scanning the newspaper and subjecting it to some sort of clever program like Google has got, and then you would come up with a measure, I think that we would find that our situation now is dyschaotic, not disorderly, that the chaos is too little. You see, when you have a lot of amplifiers and then they start cooperating with each other, then you get bigger waves. If there were storms that occurred in the Pacific, there's a big storm out beyond Hawaii, results in fabulous surf here in Half Moon Bay. People come from all over the world for these big waves. So imagine you had 3 or 4 storms that happened in the Pacific basin and that were timed in such a way to reinforce the waves created by each other. Then you get bigger waves. So that would be an example of dischaos producing the kind of situation that we see now in the news. And the news, I think we can't blame our media for overemphasizing these things because we go and buy the papers when they have the more bad news and the more papers we buy.